Hi, Grandma. So today I'm going to be talking to you about a topic we've discussed in my biology class. We just got to the end of a section on immunology that's been very information-packed, but I'm going to keep it simple and talk to you about vaccines. This is a topic that I'm very passionate about and that has been coming up a lot in the news lately. So you might be wondering, after hearing all of these different claims out there, are vaccines safe? And the overall evidence that we have suggests yes, vaccines are very safe. The World Health Organization has a list of vaccines. There's about 10 different diseases that they consider very important to be vaccinated against. And on the whole, most people have no reaction whatsoever to these vaccines. And the most frequent reactions, if any, are mild. So you might have a mild fever. There might be some redness or swelling at the injection site. And those typically tend to happen in the vaccines that we get as children. And they also typically, for the majority of the vaccines, the percentage of the side effects is 10% or less. There are some where it's a little higher, but by and large, most people will not have a reaction to a vaccine. And I know a lot of times the anti-vaccine stuff that you'll see in the media really plays up the severe side effects of vaccines, but this tends to be very small in number, if any. For example, we looked at in our textbook, we had a lovely chart about the frequency of some of these severe side effects. And so just to give you an example, for the hepatitis B vaccine, the risk of anaphylaxis or severe allergic reaction is about 1 to 2 per million vaccines administered. So overall, I would much rather take my chances with a mild side effect of vaccines to the relative certainty that if I were to not be vaccinated and get the disease, that I would either die or have very severe consequences for that. So I think I would choose the vaccine, and I'm pretty sure you feel the same way. And vaccines also have not been linked to autism. That claim originates from a paper published in 1998 that was later found to have been falsified, misrepresented on a couple different levels. So that article was retracted, and since then the overwhelming amount of evidence has shown that no, vaccines don't cause autism. I think you saw in the news maybe a week or two ago, they released another study saying that no, vaccines and autism are not connected. And the other claim that I wanted to talk to you about is that you might hear that there's all kinds of toxins in vaccines. And one thing that is often talked about is aluminum in vaccines. And this isn't aluminum as the metal or the can that you might be thinking of. The aluminum in vaccines is typically an aluminum salt, and this is a kind of adjuvant. So I drew you a picture, and what an adjuvant is basically the word adjuvant just kind of means helper. This is helping the antigen, which is what's going to be alerting our body to the disease and helping us make antibodies to fight it off. What this adjuvant does, which the purple pentagon represents an adjuvant, and we've got our little blue antigens here, clearly not to scale, although we don't know exactly why adjuvants work, and only some, not all vaccines need adjuvants, but we used to think that adjuvants worked by keeping the antigens at the site of injection, and we've actually found that that is not the case. And I did some reading of some scientific articles, and one of the theories is that when our innate immune system is activated, so we've got our innate immune cells coming up here, what the adjuvant does is just help our innate immune system get to these antigens, and then we'll have our dendritic cells mature, and eventually we'll move down the line, we'll have our antigen presenting cells, and what those are going to do is process it. In the lymph nodes, you're going to have these CD4 plus T cells, and they're going to differentiate into either T cells, which kind of tag and recognize the antigen next time you're around it, and we'll also get B cells, which does make the antibodies that we need to ward off disease. And adjuvants are good for a couple reasons. The first thing they do is they tend to increase the quantity of antibodies that are made, and they also work qualitatively by adjusting the ratio of the cells produced. So they're pretty helpful, and there's been a lot of testing on them. Adjuvants have been used for quite a while now in a lot of vaccines. So again, overwhelming evidence suggests that yes, vaccines are safe. They're not just a bunch of toxins going into you. Things like adjuvants have a purpose for being in there. And again, compared to what the disease could do to you, these vaccines are definitely more friend than foe. Okay, I hope you enjoyed my little lecture about vaccines. I know I can tend to get rolling when I talk about people who are against vaccines, but thank you, Grandma, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye!